This is obviously an historic day, and one that all of us were hopeful we would see. And now that it's here, I think a number of things can be said and reiterated. First of all, with regard to reiteration, I would quote the court and acknowledge and thank the legislature, the members of the House and the Senate who worked so hard, accepted the challenge, and have committed themselves and the people of Arkansas to constitutional compliance. As I said in the State of the State and in the inaugural address, I think I said it in the inaugural address, I know I said it in the State of the State, adequacy is a legal term and we certainly want to comply, but we wanted to do more than that and go beyond the legal requirement of adequacy into the moral imperative of excellence. And I think we're on our way to doing that. It'll be a long process. It won't happen overnight. Secondly, I think we have to acknowledge and thank the staff and the leadership at the Department of Education. Ken James and his people worked extraordinarily hard, provided enormous data and information for the General Assembly and for the entire executive branch to work. Thirdly, I think you'd be remiss if you didn't acknowledge the input of the parents and the teachers across this state who, in many instances where it wasn't even known, brought forth information, guidance, suggestions, opinions that helped formulate public policy that ultimately resulted in the decisions that were made, that were in effect ratified by the court today. In addition to those teachers, we had administrators, school board members who also had some significant input. I could name several. I tell you, you have to give credit to adversaries as well. I would give credit to David Matthews, who consistently strove to bring to the attention of anyone who would listen what he believed to be important issues that should be addressed. Notwithstanding some of the slings and arrows that people have put out in the past, you have to give credit to the court. The court, as they saw it, and the masters, as they saw it, were fulfilling their constitutional obligations and their duties to ensure that constitutional system of education was available for our students. This is a long, ongoing process. It's not merely Lakeview. It goes all the way back to Alma. And I think it reflects the dynamic nature of this entire process. As I've said for the last several months, anybody that thinks that we're through has missed the point. We're not through. This is an ever-changing, ever-evolving target that requires constant vigilance and constant modification. I am convinced that the General Assembly is up to that task. I certainly have pledged it as part of what I've been saying for over 2 years. I'd reemphasize that if you don't think education is the #1 priority of state government, you haven't realized that virtually 70 cents out of every general revenue tax dollar goes to some form of education. And education is not merely 1 through 12 or K through 12. It's pre-K to the end of life and everything in between. It's adult education, it's vocational education, it's 2-year and 4-year and research universities, and preschool probably will do more than anything else to elevate the quality of the product than virtually any other single thing that we can do. But there's enough praise to go around, and this is a day for people to acknowledge and to be acknowledged. But it's also a day to do, as the court said, to remember that it will require constant vigilance and it will require ever-changing needs as this process evolves. We're committed to continuing to do that. I'd also point out that the unanimity of the court's decision is something that Tim Gallagher and I were talking about. He's never seen 7 justices sign an opinion. I can't remember that I've ever seen it. It may have happened in those of you that are want to research it can undoubtedly point out whether it's happened. If it's happened, it's been rare. But I think it expressed probably very forcefully the unanimity of the court and their what has to be described as their pleasure at the resulting action. Lastly, let me thank those extraordinary people who worked so long and hard at the Attorney General's office through a number of administrations, and let me compliment the Attorney General who is the one who won, the one Attorney General who actually won. You know, Mark Pryor said he was the best Attorney General. He didn't win. I'm not sure whether Bill Clinton even had a case like that, or and certainly I didn't win. So it's and Tim Gallagher, who is here, deserves a specific individual mention. He's a really, really good lawyer who has worked long and hard. I told him, I said, "How does it feel? I mean, you worked for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years as a litigator, and you didn't win. Then you worked for 4 months as a lawyer trying to guide legislation and work with the legislature and work with the department and try to formulate remedies, and you do in 4 months what you couldn't do in about 4 years." And it's a building process. Every step along the way. It's the 03 session, it's the 04 session, it's the 05 session. It was all the special sessions. So with all that being said, we are very happy with the results, but we acknowledge that there's still lots of work to do, and we'll continue to try to do that. And now I'll turn it over to the lawyer who actually won one of these things, and that's our extraordinarily competent, effective, and public-spirited Attorney General and my good friend, Dustin McDaniel.
You know, it's hard to think about what this really means when we realize just how important that this truly is. There is a lot of credit that should go around, but it's important to recognize Matt McCoy and Scott Richardson from the Attorney General's office, who worked late nights and early mornings. But you know, last year when I was telling people that I was going to work hard to get us out of Lakeview, and people said, "What is it that you're going to be able to do, and why is it you're going to be able to do what your predecessors were not?" I'm going to say, well, I'll have something they didn't have, and I'll have Mike Beebe as governor, and I believe that. There was a focused effort by the legislature, by the entire executive branch, to ensure not just that we got out of court, but that we did the right thing. We have done the right thing for the children of Arkansas. My daughter is in the 1st grade this upcoming fall, and I believe that we have laid the groundwork for a world-class education for every child in Arkansas. Rich, poor, black, white, rural, urban, big schools, little schools, and it came from an enormous team of people working hard to do it. Governor Beebe brought leadership to this effort that could not be paralleled or described. And I just have to say that as a public official, as a lawyer, it doesn't get any better than this. This is a big day, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Thank you all for coming.